when I first started doing the podcast, almost all the ones I was doing was StreamYard.
Oh, okay. Okay. You just never tugged in with the features at all, I suppose. You just always get invited, I suppose.
Right. I'm thinking about. I want to do something. Uh, is it Sean or Frankie? What is?
Well, I mean, my name's Sean, full name Sean Edward Slauson, but my stage name, nickname has always been Frankie. Frankie
Oh,
Slauson.
what do you want me to call you?
You can call me Frankie. Whatever,
Okay.
that for me.
Okay. So, but anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh. I've been through 13 rehab centers. And the last one was a 9-month long rehab. I've got almost 16 years without a drink, by the way.
Well, congratulations.
Um, but the last one was a 9-month long prison rehab, and I learned so much out of this one class that I want to start a podcast to help other people with my problem. Whenever I quit drinking, I was able to just lay it down. I gave it to God and I walked away. And
Sure.
and I made a promise to him and I made a promise to my kids, and I've kept that promise. Um, but I know a lot of people ain't as strong. I mean, I tried for 19 years to whip it, but it never happened. Uh, but I want to write this book up over my experiences and what helped me the most. I mean, because I was drinking 3/5 a day, every day almost for 1 to 3/5 a day, every day for about 19 years.
Was
You
it just
know,
because of being on the road so much and all that, and the
being on
stress
the
of
road so much, physical pain, emotional pain, my heart hurt, just all kinds of stuff,
okay,
you know.
okay. And the
And
alcohol just made it better for
huh?
the alcohol made it better for the temporary amount of time.
Yeah, it just the alcohol was it. It was my best friend for a long time.
Okay.
And the only time I was ever mad at anybody was when they attacked me or accused me of drinking. I could drink that first fifth and nobody knew. It was in somewhere in that second one I started slurring.
Yeah, I tell you. Well, we'll start the interview, and then if Samantha gets in here, then we'll add her. We'll add her to the. I sent her the new link too, so
Okay.
what you do because I kind of tagged you guys in a group still thing on Messenger. But anyway, uh, we'll get an introduction started, and then we'll kind of just go into it because this is pretty exciting. I'm actually really. Oh, here she is.
Okay. And where are you at now?
I'm in northern Minnesota. I'm in a little town called Brooks, Minnesota, which is like 15 minutes from the casino that you guys are going to be at here next
Oh,
week.
okay. Okay.
What's
Hey,
going
sugar.
Hey, Dad.
How are
on?
you? I am so happy. I thought I was going to be doing an interview with ugly old Bob Orton Jr. I
Ah,
am so happy.
this is our
Yeah.
first time doing an interview together, isn't it?
I think so.
Wow. Well, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty honored to be able to be the one to kind of break the mold or break the ice. I guess we'll say.
Well, cool.
There you go.
Anytime you're ready.
All right. Well, what's up, everybody? It's Frankie Slauson, and welcome to a special edition of Frankie Slauson's Renegade Radio. Now, we normally do our podcast with my crew and everything, but we're taking a little bit of a summer break. And for me, I always like to do extra interviews, just between our breaks and whatnot. And this time, I got a doozy for us. I got a big one. This is probably as big as it gets when it comes to the wrestling world. I got not one but two. Wrestlers that are part of the same. Well, they're different generations, but they're part of the same bloodline. We'll say this is bloodline something that people like to talk about nowadays. In wrestling. Well, I got Michael Sam Houston, who is a legendary professional wrestler, the brother of Jake the Snake Roberts, and just a guy that just he was a tag team partner with Charley Thunderblood Norris. We're going to be doing an event here at the casino, at Seven Plans Casino, in corporation with Midwest All Star Wrestling, and it's going to be exciting. Saturday, July 19th, right from the casino that I work at, and alongside that we have his daughter, Samantha, but she goes as Miss Star in the world of NWA wrestling. She's a current NWA superstar, and I'm just flabbergasted by. I watched some videos of you because I wanted to get to know about you because I'm not familiar with a lot of your work just because I don't really watch a whole lot of NWA. I do see it here and there, but I when David told me about you, I had to start getting some knowledge about you. So I watched some of your videos, and boy, I tell you, you definitely somebody. If I was a wrestler, I'd be too afraid to challenge. I think.
Thank
Both of you.
you.
But welcome to the show, you guys, Sam and
Thank you very much.
Renegade Radio. We're so excited. I will say that MAW first of all decided to get a hold of the casino to do something for Charley for a tribute. But the fact that we are so thirsty and starving for entertainment, for good entertainment at our local facility. This could be a better way to really kick off the summer, I guess we'll say.
Well, I got to tell you, for me, all in all, it's a dream come true. My last, well, let's see, my last trip to Minnesota was a hard trip for me because I was getting ready to go in for lung surgery. The trip before that was a hard trip because I had to go bury my brother, my partner, Charley Norris. And Red Lake is kind of like a second home for me. I feel like I'm in touch, in tune with everything and everything, everything for me there works. My feelings, just everything. I can't explain it. It's just a spirituality process, I reckon. But I'm so excited to come there this time. Now, last time I came, we had a memorial dinner for Charley. I received my Indian name, which is Memushkawigabo, which means still standing strong. It was a beautiful ceremony. Jason Hart, my niece, gave me my name. He presided over Charley's funeral. We've grown close, and he's been helping me through. So I was up there for my naming and the powwow last year, and then I came home, and then 2 days after I got home, I had my lung removed. And then 10 days later, they came to me and they said, "Sir, we're sorry to inform you, but your stage 1 lung cancer is now stage 3. We're going to have you do targeted radiation and chemotherapy." I was going through the radiation and talking to Jason, and he told me about a little boy in a water drum ceremony, a healing ceremony that we could do. And he came out 3 weeks into my radiation. We performed the ceremony. And that next day, there was something going on with me. The next week, when I was going to the radiation doctor, they came to me and they said, "Sir, you're a miracle. We can't find any cancer in your body." So I was blessed in that way. And then now, it's been a long road, a long year of recovery for me. I'm missing part of a lung. But my dream is to get in there one last time for my retirement match. And no better way to do it than to honor my tag team partner of many years, Charley Thunderblood Norris. And what's really like the cherry on top of the cake is my daughter was there for my naming ceremony. She'll be named into the tribe on this trip. So I'm just so excited, and going crazy.
Wow.
And I'm very excited to be back up in Thief River Falls because, 30 years ago, me and Charley did do some stomping around up there.
Okay. See, that's just the thing about this. Like, when it comes to Charley, he's kind of like a lot of people around Red Lake know him, obviously, because of who he is or whatever. But there's a lot of people, including myself, that are a little puzzled because, like I know he was in WCW, and that's kind of all I know, and it's, and I know that's horrible for an interviewer to know not much information, but it's like, well, I mean, I wish I would have known more about him and saw more videos and stuff, but it just seems like that's kind of, I mean,
Well, you and I can get together and we can do like a series, and I'd really like to do that because Charley made 6 trips to Japan. We made 5 as a tag team. We were over in New Guinea, Australia. We were almost eaten by cannibals in New Guinea. So there's a lot of good stuff I can talk about.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
But I want to talk about the new rising sensation. My daughter, yay!
Let's talk about Samantha, because this is also not only just a way to celebrate the event on July 19th, but we want to get to know you guys too, because this is your first time on my podcast and everything. And Samantha, again, it's an honor to have you. Tell me about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, not a problem. So I go by the ring name Samantha Starr. It's a play off of Sam Houston for sure, but whenever my mom was pregnant with me, she was brainstorming names and she liked the name of Samantha Starr Smith. But thinking about calling it out on a playground, she was like, that kind of sounds like a dancer. We might want to stray away from that. And then whenever I was coming into the wrestling business, I thought, what better way to honor both of my parents than to use that name as Samantha Starr for my ring name. So I started training when I was only 14 years old. I took my first bumps in Columbia, South Carolina, and then continued to train all the way up until I was about 17, 18 before I had my first in-ring match. The match was on the fly. Somebody had canceled from a show down the road, and they were like, hey, listen, you've been training. I know you're nervous, but do you think you can make this work? It's a charity event for the school. Can you do it? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So drove down, had my first match. I think I was 17 years old. I was still in high school. From there, I hit the independent scene. I used the name Samantha Starr, but instead of going by like third generation wrestler, I wanted to go out and he has to go for a second. I'll continue talking because this is about me right now. So what happened was, there you go. So whenever I was younger, I already had a lot of pressure on me because of who my family was. Because for those of you that have not been familiar with me, that don't know my story, I am a third generation wrestler, but I'm not just on one side, I'm on both sides third generation wrestler. I am the only person in the entire world that is 3 generations on both sides. So out of the entire world, there's 45 third generation wrestlers. Out of those, only 8 are women. And out of those 8, I am the only one that is 3 generations of straight women. And I'm the only third generation wrestler that's 3 generations on both sides. Because my mom is the perfect 10 baby doll. My dad, Sam Houston. My uncle is WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts. My aunt is WWF Women's World Champion Rockin' Robin. 3 out of 4 of my grandparents also wrestled. So my dad, his brother, and sister, their father is Grizzly Smith. He was one half of the Wild Kentuckians. And then on the right-hand side, on my mom's side, I have the perfect 10 baby doll, of course. And then her parents were Nick Wildman Roberts and Lorraine Johnson. Fun fact about Lorraine Johnson is she held the NWA Women's World Tag Team titles, which is the exact same title that I held recently in the NWA. So the only granddaughter, grandmother duo to hold the exact same titles in the NWA.
Wow, that's pretty. See, that's something to be proud of, and I can understand how there'd be a lot of pressure on you now that you explained that to me, because it's like that's a lot of history to be a part of. In such a short amount of time.
Okay, I got like a little bit of a pun here or a joke. Okay. Okay, and this goes back to our lineage, generational stuff like that. Do you know the first title I ever held, sweetie?
No.
Okay. Do you know the first title Robin ever held?
No.
Do you know the first title Jake ever held?
Did Jake hold a title?
Yeah.
Okay. I know he didn't in WWE. That the big thing is that he was never WWE world champion.
Right, but he did have time.
Okay, no.
In WCW or Georgia Championship Wrestling, he had a bunch of titles, and he won the North American title the night that he discovered the DDT. The DDT came; it was a complete mistake. The grappler stepped on his foot and charged backwards to try to run him into the the turnbuckle, and Jake had him in a front face lock. Well, he stepped on his foot. Jake had nowhere to go but down. So it knocked the grappler out, and Jake won the North American title. That's where that came from.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, the first title that Jake, Robin, and I ever held was the same title, and it was one of Dad's. It was the North American Tag Team titles. So all four of us held that title. Me, Jake, and Robin were just sitting there on the couch with it. But it's the first title I held. And then check this out. My ring crew days, when I was the ring crew and the timekeeper and everything, I held every belt in Mid-South territory without ever wrestling for it once.
That's amazing.
Yeah, goof.
I know. But, hey, you got to enjoy life. If anything's taught me this over this last year and everything, and the cancer scare that I went through, and you can fight back and you can win. You just got to be diligent with everything you do. But you tend to appreciate. I want to smile a lot more than I want to frown.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's totally understandable. I mean, there's a lot of wrestlers, in the industry that have lost that over the course of their life because they feel like, everybody wants to be a star. No pun intended.
Okay, and a lot of people, a lot of us, and you can tell if somebody's got that star quality when they walk in the ring, in the room, and everything. But I think, and this is from my standpoint, when I'm at an autograph signing or something like that, the most important person in that room is not me or the person next to me, or it's the person that's in front of you. You make that person. That's the most important person it should be at that time. Give them some, huh?
Yeah. The fan interaction has always been so important,
Yeah, I love talking with folks. My daughter will tell you. I mean, I'll have a booth or a table or something. It's hard to keep me back there because I want to go and hang out and talk to folks.
Oh yeah. And I suppose, Samantha, you gotta be proud of your father, for all his success and everything. No matter what. It's been an up and down road, but the fact that he's still around, that's the biggest thing. The second thing, you can be proud of the heritage that for the family that you come from, and three, now you're in NWA and everything, and it's like it just seems like success is finding you guys no matter what, type of success it is. You're getting to do something that you love and keep your family. We'll say your family bloodline, because like I said, a lot of people like to use the term bloodline nowadays, thanks to the whole storylines they're giving us in WWE currently. So your bloodline is just as important as any others.
Well, let's see. You got how many? Did you know that TJ wrestled a little bit? Your cousin
Who's TJ?
TJ was Joe Lynn's son.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Yeah, he wrestled for about 5 or 6 months. He did pretty good, but he didn't have it in him,
Okay.
But he did all
it's
right.
hard.
Oh yeah, and he was a little bit more on the lazier side. So.
Well, they got that show. They got that show called LFG. That's kind of like our modern day Tough Enough now. Now that's on TV, and even watching that, to me, it's like, as much fun as it would be to train to be a professional wrestler, I'm a little scared just to for those guys that that are just starting out, that have no idea if they're gonna make it or not. We just find out, and sometimes
you got to have it in you. You really got. It's got to be a desire. It's got to be a passion, really. Because you got to be in condition. And I went to a thing at Lodi's the other day. He told me to tell you hello last night. I went to the gym.
Thank you.
But anyway, last weekend, Cahegas flew into town, and Perry Saturn and Sonny Ono came into town, and they had his gym out for that Saturday morning for tryouts for Japan, and it wasn't through any organization or any wrestling booking office, over here in the States that was sending you over. the Japan people were sponsoring with Sonny Ono and these two guys to come in and find viable talent to send over there. And out of 20 guys, one guy, I believe made it through the thing. But they go back to the old school. You got to be old school in shape before anybody got in the ring to do anything. They had to rip off 300 squats,
Wow.
and that's what you had to do back in the day. Back when I started wrestling, I was doing 500 a day. And then when we got ready to go to Japan, Charley and I, when we got ready for our trips to Japan, I'd do 1,500 squats a day, in a session, just rip them out. But you got to be in good shape for that, to go. Well, you need to be in good shape over here too, the best shape of your life, because in the first minute while you're in the ring wrestling, you're going to use every muscle in your body, either pushing or pulling at least once.
So Samantha, like, what was your kind of like? You're like, okay, well, we know that because of the bloodline that you have, that got you interested in wrestling. But like, when you first started training and stuff, what was that like for you?
Intense. Intense to say the least. So my very first experience in the ring, I was only 14 years old, and I went to the ring with the heavyweight champion of that company. His name's Timber. He's a well-known trainer out of North Carolina. And he stood me in the center of the ring, and he said, all right, you're going to learn how to take a bump. And I was like, okay. He was like, I want you to stand in the center of the ring, and I want you to throw yourself as hard as you can with your back on the mat and try and land on your shoulder blades. Tuck your chin, throw your feet up, hit the mat, spread out your weight. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What are we doing? And it was so hard for me to get over that mental barrier of falling back and trusting that I wasn't going to get hurt. From a young age, like whenever you're learning how to walk, you're teaching yourself not to fall, because now falling as an adult, it hurts, and two, it's embarrassing. Nobody wants to fall now. So to consciously in your head say, all right, I'm going to hit this mat as hard as I can, you feel like a psychopath. So luckily he understood, hey, listen, you're 14, you're just getting in here. So he brought me over to the ropes, and I grabbed the second rope and I squatted down almost to where my butt was touching the mat. And I was just rolling back to try and get that motion, trying to get the head tuck, trying to kick my feet out from under me, trying to remember to smack the mat so I'm distributing my weight, and worked my way up until I was able to bump. Well, just doing it one time is never good enough. It's never good enough. So, of course, we went bump after bump after bump after bump. It was so many times. Just my biggest thing learning how to train was learning how to tuck my chin, because you don't want to get whiplash. You don't want to smack your head on the mat over and over again. So, like, you have to tuck your chin. That was the hardest thing for me to learn. So the next morning, because I had smacked my head on the mat so many times, I was so dizzy and I had whiplash so bad, like I couldn't even lift my head up off the pillow. And my mom looks at me and she was like, do you want to do it again? And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And then throughout my teenage years, because I was balancing middle school, high school, soccer, a job, whenever I was about 16 years old, I got to go and work out with my dad in the ring. And it was the first time that I had gotten to body slam anybody. And I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you guys can pick up on this, but I am 5'7" at my best. That's when I'm like stretching, like I want to be proud of my height. I am 5'7". My father is 6'4". So there's a little bit of a size difference. Not only that, but it is my father. And you know how, father-daughter relationships work. There's a little bit of an age gap. So here he is, I want you to body slam me. And I'm like, you're old. I'm going to hurt you. But he
was old, I was fat, and I was your dad. And
you were a little bit heavier than me. Just a little.
It was 240 at the time.
Yeah, 240 to my 160, like almost a foot gap, 30-year age difference. It was a whole like algebra problem that I was trying to work out about how do I not kill him. And I was nervous, I was scared, but he's a professional and he trusted me and he trusted my ability. And of course, one thing as a pro wrestler, like you learn to protect yourself. So with him being a seasoned veteran, like he had no problem like knowing the motions, knowing how to post up, knowing to protect himself, knowing to tuck his chin. And it was weightless. Like for a 240 pound, 6'4" man, for me to body slam him, it was weightless. So it's definitely a memory.
Okay, now Frank, let me stop right there because that's not where it ends. Okay, I told her to slam me just one time, and then she would feel the difference. And she got me up there, and when she launched me, I heard her squeal like that. And as I was coming up, she come over and grabbed me by the head, picked me up and slammed me again and squealed again. And then this time, the third time, she picked me up and slammed me, and I'm crawling to the ropes. And I said, baby, I said one time. And she said, but Dad, I got so excited because that was it, And that's, for me, about being able to tweak something out or iron out the kinks for something for my child, that is the biggest honor and pleasure in the world. So I didn't mind getting slammed a lot of times, but I'm old. And then I made her make her the guy that she had brought to work out with her. I made her make him cry. I wanted to make sure that my daughter could handle herself in any kind of situation. So I taught her a couple of moves that won't be taught to at schools or anywhere else. But she made him cry real tears, and then he said he wanted me to teach him that, and I said, nope, that's for her to know, not you.
Wow. Well, that's well. See, and I like hearing stories like that, because the relationship between father and daughter, or father and son, or mother and son, or mother and daughter, or whatever, it's amazing. And when you guys can do the same stuff and do that as a career, or as somebody who's like starting out or whatever. I mean, that's the thrill of it. See, I always loved professional wrestling. And for somebody who's never been a professional wrestler, I still have no ideas of what you guys go through. But I don't want to be the type of person or interviewer to try to act like I do. You ever get around a lot of people who have a lot to say when it comes to the interview thing, and think that they
and you just gotta be nice to them, I guess, and agree with them and walk away. I don't have to put up with it no more, but they don't got to buy tickets to come see me no more. So, but yeah, you have your armchair quarterbacks and your people that want to critique everything you do and everything, and if it was meant sincerely, it would be one thing, but it's most of the time when they're doing it, they're trying to, point their finger and stuff like that. And that just throws blocks up, man.
So let me ask you, Samantha, because I want to kind of get your input as much as possible, and make you the star here today on the show here, since that's your last, your wrestling name and everything. Mm-hmm. What are some of your most memorable matches that you've had so far in your career that maybe some people might know, or maybe some hidden gems that maybe people don't know?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. My highlight of my career was definitely winning the NWA World Women's Tag Team Championships. My tag partner Ella Envy and I won them at NWA 76 in Philadelphia at the ECW Arena.
Oh wow!
The 2300 ECW Arena. So that was definitely like the highlight of my career. A lot of my matches that I truly enjoy are matches where like one of my family members is involved or gets to be a part of it. My mom gets to manage me sometimes, so I always have fun traveling around with her, and like I know that I look sweet and like bubbly and happy, but I really like playing heel. And whenever I get to play heel with my mom, it's so much more fun because we almost get into this like unspoken competition to see like who can make the crowd matter. She's always supportive of me. She's always like celebrates my victories. But that's always fun for me. It's that bonding moment, and like who else gets to go with their mom to piss off a crowd of 500, 1,000 people on any given Saturday, right? I've gotten to challenge for the NWA Women's World Championship against Kenzie Page. I was actually the first person, once Kenzie won the title, I was the first person that she had to defend her title against. So that was a big deal for me. I was unsuccessful, but the experience was still, I mean, it's in my history book, so I'm thrilled with it. Gosh, I don't know. There's so many moments, and I've gotten to share the ring with so many like beautiful, talented women that I can't even put a finger on how many just outstanding matches I've had with them.
And I suppose, I mean, you want to keep doing this for a long time. Where do you see yourself in the future? I mean, do you consider yourself all NWA forever, or would you be willing to go to TNA or ROH or AEW or WWE at some point?
So right now, my main focus is NWA. I am under contract with NWA. I do love the company, love Billy, love the promotion. I love the freedom that they give me. I love the direction that they give me as well, because it's not just a do as I say because I say it. Like, if you ever have a question, if you ever have anything that comes up where you're either unsure or unsold on it, you can always talk to the office and just say, hey, like, tell me your vision with this, and they'll loop you in, and then it's a conversation. It's not just like I don't feel like a cookie cutter, just roll out NWA star after NWA star. I feel authentic whenever I am with the NWA. For the future, who knows? Huh?
Oh, one thing I was going to add in there too about the NWA and what I'm, they've got their road agents, I guess, is what you'd call them, I guess. Is that what Jazz would be called, a road agent? Okay. Like Jazz and Ricky Morton and those guys, they're road agents, but they've been in the ring. They've had that experience. They know what they're doing. They know how to, they know how to get the most out of everything, and what I like is that the road agents come up and they'll have that conversation, with that superstar. They'll pull that wrestler aside. They'll pull that piece of talent aside and say, hey, this, that, and the other, boom, 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 boom. But you could get more out of it like this, and it usually works. See, that's what happened. Oh gosh, years ago when everything was territories and you were getting your case of beer after the matches and riding down the road with Johnny Weaver and Sonny Fargo and the old timers, and they're telling you, the different things, but they were giving you constructive criticism to make you better at your craft. And then when everything became TV and pay-per-view orientated, it came, you didn't need to be a wrestler no more. You could be a robot and we can go show you how to do the moves and be on TV. What I like with the NWA is they're getting good, credible athletes that know how to wrestle again,
Yep.
And for somebody that's a wrestler, I have to... I hate walking into the dressing room and seeing 9 guys with baseball bats with barbed wire around them. I walked into one in Texas with Rod Price, and I said, y'all got to be the biggest bunch of wusses I've ever seen before in my life. If you got to carry a baseball bat around with you wrapped in barbed wire to prove how tough you are, you ain't tough. I can take that barbed wire handle, I'd take that baseball bat and make a popsicle.
It looked like they want to be more into a fight, more or less, than just a wrestling match.
But the guys have lost something along the way, and what I like about the NWA is they've got that camaraderie back to it, and it's a lot of guys. You have your issues, and those draw you money, and that's great, But it's also, whenever I'd get in the ring with a guy like Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, I loved it. Or Tully Blanchard, I loved it because I knew they were going to bring me to the next level.
Sure.
And so you respect those matches. You love those matches. My daughter's got one coming up in next week in Thief Falls against I believe it was
Rachel Ellering.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see that. I mean, Paul and I have been friends for a while. When I was a young kid, he stopped me coming back from the ring in Philadelphia. He said, "Sam," he goes, he goes, you know why I just love watching you wrestle? I was like, no. He said, because you go that one step further with everything you do, you know? And at the time, I didn't think of it, but, you know, I was sitting in prison for 5 years or whatever. I had time to think about all the things that people had said to me along the way. And that was one of the best compliments I'd ever gotten in my life, you know? But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing my girl dominate Rachel Ellering, you know, because I don't care I don't care who gets around me or what, they going down.
There you go.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, since we're doing this interview, and since we're this is also because of the tribute to Charley coming up here next Saturday in Thief River Falls at the Seven Clans Casino. Tickets are definitely available. We hope that there's a big crowd of people. First of all, because there's a lot of wrestling fans in northern Minnesota.
Well, I've got a couple of special surprises. I've been working on Charley's bench to be able to sit by his gravesite, and it's coming along beautifully. I'll have it there. I'm trying to see if I can go ahead and bring it up to the event itself, and then place it at his gravesite the following day. I think that would be a cool thing for people to see, and and then if people wanted to go out there and visit, they have a good place to sit.
Oh, absolutely. Red Lake's a nice area, a beautiful lake. It's a tribe that's been through some stuff, over the years, but people, there are still a lot of old school, proud Native Americans that love that place, that love that area, that are proud to be.
Oh yes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
that's my second home.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, seriously, because like I'm, in my duty job, I work at the casino, so I'm a security guard. So when Saturday comes, depending on the idea that Dave and I have to possibly do a possible pre-show, if we're allowed to, this might get a little bit interesting. But my thing is, I know a lot of people that are from Red Lake that work with me at the casino, and most of the people are pretty proud of where they come from, and they'll tell you. I mean, it's not always the easy times or whatever for them either, but it's it's home, and it always will be. So, and for Charley, I believe that he was so proud to be from Red Lake. I mean, when you guys traveled and stuff, I mean, did they bill him from Red Lake, Minnesota, or was
yes,
he billed?
Let me tell you about my partner, Charley. Okay,
yes, let's talk about it a little bit.
He had a tryout for WWF, and his tryout was against me in Savannah, Georgia. It was 4 years, about 3 or 4 years before we hooked up in Atlanta. And anyway, sorry.
That's all right.
Anyway, here's this big kid, big tall kid. At the time, he weighed about 240, 245. And he was there, and he come to me, and he was wrestling me in his tryout match. And Chief J. Strongbow, who was not an Indian, he was not native, he was an Italian that they put a head dress on and called him an Indian because he had made a big mistake on television in New York, talking about the black glove of the Sicilians or something, the glove of death. Anyway, the Italian community rose up, and I mean they had to get rid of them. So Chief J. Strongbow, or Joe Scarpa, and his tag team partner, I think it was Steve Kovacs or something, or it may not have been Kovacs. Anyway, but both of them became Indian wrestlers, so they wouldn't get offed or killed.
It's almost like what WWF did to Yokozuna. They turned him Japanese when he was Samoan the whole time.
Right. So yeah, basically, or Akeem, they took one man gang and made Akeem. So
yeah.
I guess when you got enough money, you can do anything. But anyway, Joe Scarpa is trying to teach. Charley was a dancer at powwows and stuff, and they're trying to tell him how to dance in the ring, and that ate him up. You know, he's like, they know nothing about our culture or the reason. And he wouldn't do it. He always stood up for his culture. And we carried a Red Lake Nation flag everywhere we went on all of our trips to Japan, and we showed our flag off everywhere. We would sometimes we'd have people sign them and we'd keep them and everything. I don't know where they've gone through over the years, but I still got my Red Lake Nation flag in my nostalgia room inside the house.
Oh, that's cool. Would you?
But he was, dude. I got to tell you, he was an unnamed ambassador for the Red Lake Nation. Everywhere he went, you know, he held himself in great standing, you know, and he towered above everybody too. So I mean, you look at him and you go, wow, you know, that's it. That's a man, and he was, you know, he really was. He was my best friend. He had my back. Whenever I first met Charley the second time, I was coming into the hotel in Atlanta carrying my dad. He had just had emergency surgery and his stomach removed. Staph infection set in and the incision opened up. Well, I brought my dad back to the hotel and I was going to take care of him there. And Charley was at the front desk when I pulled my dad in. And he goes, Sam Houston, you remember me? And I was like, no. You know, but he's a big guy, you know. But he weighed close to 300 pounds then. He said, I'm Charley Norris. He said, you kicked my ass about 4 years ago at my WWF tryout. I was like, oh, my God, this big son of a gun wants to fight. I've already been paralyzed twice, partially paralyzed on the left side of my body. I got hurt wrestling a one-man gang in Kevin Sullivan in Roanoke, Virginia, and was out for a long time. And then when I got back, when the doctor worked on me and got me back on my feet, the Northridge earthquake hit in Los Angeles, and I was out there and I re-injured myself. But anyway, I got back, came to visit my dad, saw my dad, ran in with Charley, and he pulled me aside and we started talking, and he wanted me to go down to the power plant with him for WCW and work out with him in the ring some. And I said, I don't know what I can do. Well, 3 months working out every day in the ring with him and everything, and I was able to get back in there. So he gave me my wrestling career back, you know, because my career was over, and he gave that back to me. And then, boy, we just went all over. We started wrestling for independent promoters. When he left WCW, we started wrestling for the PWA and then the independent promoters all over the country. And then we got over to Japan 5 times. We did really well, you know. So, but it was on the independent level.
Well, I want you to tell me about the name, the Renegades, because how apropos is it? You know, for being a renegade, you're on Renegade Radio today, so it's like,
yeah, that is kind of cool. No, I've always liked that because, you know, me and Charley, we didn't like people's rules. We made our own. If we didn't like the rules, we didn't, you know, abide by. We did what we thought was right. And you know, it really never got us into any trouble because morally we were outstandingly right, you know. But I seen Charley walk up to a guy. Guy had his cow tied to a tree all day long. The rope was so short the cow couldn't eat any grass or anything else. And Charley went over, knocked on the guy's door, and told him if he didn't want to get tied up to that tree, that he was going to go let that cow free so that cow could eat some grass and get some water.
That's funny. That's funny. So, what are some of your lasting memories with him before he passed away? Because I'm sure the last few years before he died, I'm sure you were more close then, or
well, I mean, he was up in Minnesota. I mean, we talked on the phone every day and stuff like that. But then I made a couple of trips to go visit him and stuff, and then he flew down here and visited me here at our place, and we really had a nice time, you know, and you know, a lot of time spent recollecting, and then a lot of time preparing for the future, not for ourselves, but for our young ones that we're leaving behind, you know, and.
Sure.
You know, and it's a lot of it is what kind of legacy are you going to pass down, you know, and really, I think just it's, Charlie's always wanted to inspire hope in people when you felt like there was no hope. You can
Sure,
always
sure.
do something.
See, the last time that I knew anything about Charlie was 19 years ago when we had a wrestling event. It was the last time that I can remember having a wrestling event in Thief River. So this will be exciting to have something like this back 19 years later. But he brought in Greg Valentine and he brought in X Pac at the time. And how my whole interview thing got started was, literally I asked Greg Valentine if I could do an interview with him, and at that time we didn't have the cell phones and all that stuff, or they were more obsolete than they are now, and I had to get some recording stuff, so I recorded everything on tape at the time, by cassette. So luckily everything worked out, and then that's what kicked out my interview career. And over the years, I've had a chance to interview a lot of good wrestlers and stuff over the years. And I always tell people, you guys are the ones that have the best stories because they're real. They're real, first of all. You're not making them
Yeah.
up to hype anything. You lived everything, all the experiences. And even you, Samantha, I mean, I'm sure you got some stories that you can tell your future kids or grandkids or whatever down the line. You don't look like you're that old. I mean, I'm not going to really try to guess your age because I don't want to have you hate me, but but I'm guessing you're pretty young though. I mean, you're still kind of, you're not great, but you're like, you're young in that category. Right?
I'm 32.
Okay, well I'm
So
41.
I've been around a little bit.
I was gonna say you look more like you're in your 20s, more or less, because you look so good for your so youthful and everything.
Thank
You didn't say
you.
nothing about me, how good I look. I'm 3 days older than dirt.
Yes, Sam, you're beautiful too. You look beautiful too, sugar.
Yeah. Oliver's looking at me funny like he's gonna go bury me.
Oh, absolutely.
Oliver's my dog.
So when it comes to this event here on Saturday, that July 19th, that you guys are coming to, what do you want people to what do you want people to or like what memories do you want people to remember from this event? Like going into it, even though we're not here yet, but we're getting prepared for it.
Um, Camaraderie. Um, we're all there for a reason, to have a nice time, to honor our friend. I want people to be satisfied. When it's all said and done, I want them to be satisfied. I want them to say that was beautiful. You know, there was a lot of matches and stuff like that, but neither of the athletes got you know caterwonky or out of the way, and going too far or anything like that. That it was all good wrestling matches, good solid matches. Because I want to see, and I believe solid wrestling matches will draw crowds. People will pay to see what they cannot do themselves, and that that's that's why they come to the wrestling matches, because they can't. A lot of times they can't do these things, so they can live out through the athletes themselves. I just want everybody to come and have a good time, good enjoyable time, leave there satisfied, and leave there knowing that they've been to something special tonight.
How about you, Samantha? Like, what's your goal when it comes to doing these type of events?
Yeah, so like he said, camaraderie, understanding that we're there for a purpose, we're there to honor Charlie. But one of the biggest payoffs that I get in pro wrestling is whenever people come up and they tell me about their childhood memories of getting to watch with their mom, their dad, their grandfather, their grandmother growing up. So with Thief River Falls not having any wrestling events for the past roughly 19 years, I would love to see just a slew of brand new wrestling fans get to come out and experience their first live event, and for us to be able to bring that to them, for them to go home with those memories. So maybe whenever I have a kid, or maybe 10 years down the road at an autograph signing, someone will come up and be like, "You're the first female wrestler I ever saw. I saw you in Minnesota," and just have that joy and that just fulfilling moment. That's what I hope to get out of it.
Well, we have another organization called Destination Pro, but they've never done anything at the casino yet. And they've been around for a few years, but the Midwest All Star Wrestling guys, they seem like they know what they're doing as far as like putting on shows all over Minnesota and beyond. And David seems like a good promoter. How do you guys learn about David?
Well, David reached out to me, and I was like, I'm jumping at the bit, because I want anything I can to memorialize and to do something special for my partner. And David's been really good with me about keeping in contact with me. And I explained to him about my daughter, and he was all up in that. He wanted to make sure that he had her on the event. He's just been like phenomenal for me. And I want to do whatever I can to help him proceed, to keep moving forward. I'm not sure about any of the other locals around the Minnesota area or not, but one of the things that I find is if you use less than credible talent, you're cheapening your own show, and you're actually committing suicide. Because who's going to come back to watch something that's not legit? I want to see good athletes.
Well, that's how I agree with you on that, because I'm so glad that this is going to work out, because the fact that they reached out to you guys, and Dave reached out, and Dave was helping put this together, not just for a tribute, but just the fact that our area here, we are hungry, we are thirsty, we need this entertainment. Our casino used to be one of the number one places to go for fun, not just to gamble.
All you got to do is tell the casino, bring me up about once every couple of months, and we'll come on up here and have some fun.
Do you often gamble much in your personal life?
I mean, I play a little bit, but I'm not a real big gambler anymore or anything. I've kind of learned it, when you gamble on something, if you lose, then you don't got that to gamble with no more.
That's right. And you gamble a lot in life. How about you, Samantha? Are you smart with your money, or are you just, I'm sure you are, obviously, but
yeah, smart with my money, not with my life. I like to gamble on more of the adrenaline side of things. I like to go swim with sharks and play with alligators and jump out of planes and stuff like that. So plenty of gambling, just not with finances.
So does NWA take care of you pretty well? I mean, not to really get money involved with contracts or whatever, but do they see a talent like you and see that obviously you're worth every dollar that they spend on you? Like, do you have
100%. Like I have no complaints when it comes to NWA whatsoever. They treat us all like stars. They make sure that it's white glove treatment. They make sure that we have catering, not just once, but twice a day. They make sure that our flights are taken care of. We have travel agents that work 24/7 pretty much to make sure that our travel is seamless as possible. If there's ever a delay or any like weather event, they're on the phones, like getting everything hammered out. So by far, like hands down, they take care of us.
And I suppose for Billy being the boss and everything, Billy Corgan, with his time in Smashing Pumpkins and stuff, I mean, he has to kind of relate to how it is when it comes to touring and stuff, and doing almost similar things to what you guys do, because when you're a band and stuff, you want to make money, you want to make a legacy, but you also want to make sure that you're smart with everything, because travel can be kind of extrapolating, I'm sure, over the time. You guys travel a lot with NWA here and there, not just to the same televised studio, or is that just one?
Oh, no, we're all over. We are all over. So just this year alone, we did Philadelphia. We've got New York coming up. We had Dothan, Alabama, which I think we may be visiting again soon. We've been to Missouri, New Orleans, Tampa, Nashville. Oh gosh, where all else? Chicago, Ohio. Yeah, we're all over. North Carolina, we did the Crockett Cup in North Carolina. So NWA is always on the move. And the cool thing about NWA is we brought back the territories. So we've always had independent territories like out there, like that's the independent circuit, right? But Billy and the NWA have decided to launch the NWA territory. So we have NWA Exodus Pro, NWA Crossfire, NWA JCP, NWA FTW. So we have all these different territories all over the country as well that you can go out and wrestle for to represent the NWA. So all over, all over.
Well, I suppose growing up, you probably did a lot of traveling with your family, and so traveling isn't a big deal with you.
No, not at all. I think I've already taken 50 flights this year.
Yeah. If he's ever close enough by me and stuff like that, I'll just jump in the truck and drive down and see her.
He's done that. Yeah, I wrestled in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and got to see you.
About Tampa.
Okay. Yeah, he drove all the way down to Tampa too. Like he said, close enough. It's like 12-hour drive for him, and he was like, "It's fine." And he's driven down to Tampa more than once to come see me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. It's all over.
Do you have any other siblings that wrestle too, or are you kind of the only one in your as far as your siblings go?
So I have one older sibling. Her name is Micah. She does not wrestle. She is a musician. She's a very, very talented musician. She's about 2 years older than me. She was blessed with the height from my family, where I said earlier I'm only 5'7" at my best. My sister is 6'3". So if she had gone down the path of wrestling, she would have been an absolute star. Like just with her size alone, just to stand there and like. She did it to me whenever I was younger, where you kind of like put your hand on the littler person's forehead, and I'm swinging as hard as I can, and she's just got her arm fully extended, staring at me. So I feel like that would have been like a really good method into wrestling for her. Yeah. But she's such a talented musician, and she's taken off with that. So I'm happy as long as she's happy.
Does she have a professional band that she plays with at all, or?
So she was with a band called the Nevernauts for a while, but she does a lot of independent stuff. Just with musicians, a lot of musicians are kind of finicky. They're not the most reliable group of people, but she's so passionate about it that she's learned that as long as she relies on herself, she'll do what she wants to do. So I admire it.
That's awesome. So geez, Sam, I gotta make you proud. You got the talent just runs in the family. Did anybody else ever do music in your family too, or
my dad?
You're okay. So Sam, you did some music.
He's asking where the musical talent comes from, and I'm pointing at you.
Yeah,
I did some singing a little bit for a little while back.
Okay.
Yeah, you ought to check out a song on YouTube called "Salvation" by Sam Houston.
Okay. Okay. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's about the night I got saved.
Okay.
Okay.
A little bit of religious tones in there. That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. You know, gotta have that. You know. Well, I appreciate you guys being on here. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but we look forward to having both of you, and everybody that's going to be showing up to Thief River. Because, like I said, we're hungry and thirsty, and all the words that you can say to just say that we're anxious for you guys to show up.
We can't wait to get there, and it ain't just going to be me and Michaela. I mean, me and Samantha, even though that's enough. But we got Jake the Snake Roberts, Bob Orton Jr. You got all the rest of the talent going to be there too, and I'm sure they got some honorary people coming in, and so they may not have a bouncy house, but we don't need one.
I heard you guys are showing up the night before, so that'll be on Friday. So I definitely want to get to meet you and hang out with you a little bit, because
sounds great. I'll be there with bells on.
Oh, absolutely. And Samantha, thank you for taking the time as well. I mean, I do appreciate it. And if this is the first time you guys have done something together like this, and I'm honored to help break that ice for the first time.
Thank you, sweetie.
There you go. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Greggy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, well, we'll see you guys on the night or the 18th. We'll say or beforehand.
All right.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right, and that was Sam Houston and his daughter Samantha Starr, current NWA superstar. Like I said, tune in to Saturday, July 19th, over at the Seven Clans Casino. MAW is coming, and we're doing a tribute to Charley Thunderblood Norris, and it should be a good time. And maybe there'll be more to it that I might be involved in than just doing interviews. So maybe something cool will happen. But we'll see you guys, and we'll see you guys soon because Monday, August 4th, remember, season 5 of Renegade Radio, Frankie Sloss's Renegade Radio, will be coming back, and we're in it for another season. Much longer will we go? Well, it depends. Depends on a lot of things. Depends on the success of the season, and depends on you guys, the audience, participating and stuff too, and my crew as well. So, anyway, I'm Frankie Slosson, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.